I was in flooring and worked my way up as a foreman in that trade, and then during the recession I decided to kind of reevaluate. It was definitely a step backwards to pick a new trade and start over, but I'm really glad that I did. Now I'm a general foreman, steam fitter, and also working as a project manager as well.
I worked at a daycare.
I was working as an automotive technician.
I was working with adults with developmental disabilities.
I was in the Marine Corps. I really didn't have a whole lot of direction as to what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do something where I'd be working with my hands. I didn't want to sit behind a desk.
Making the conscious decision to change fields was a big jump, and still there was a few years there where I wasn't sure. There was times when I was discouraged, and there was times when I wanted to quit. But I mean, once I was in the program, it took me 2.5 years to get in as a helper. I got in at the big recession, so that it just took a while to get in, but I got in, and from there it was just the next 5 years to really kind of build your skills. And the common sense and the mechanical ability, yes, that stuff transfers over, but I had to start all over. The field, the theory, I mean, it was all totally different.
One of the great things about the program is after someone applies to get in, one of the first things they typically do is get dispatched and spend some time as a helper. And that gives you an opportunity to really work around the trade, soak up what it's all about, and figure out if it's a good fit for you before you actually are committed to the apprenticeship. There's that period there where you're immersed in the trade, but you're not quite attached to the apprenticeship yet. And so that gives you that opportunity to see if it's really a good fit for you. You like the environment, you like the work.
So right now, it's kind of exciting. I'm on I think it's a 45-story hotel. It's supposed to be the biggest in the Northwest. It's actually really cool. I've never been on a job this big or with a company this big. So.
Larger job sites, larger contractors will use this system, and they use a tripod with a laser and a whole computer program. So you really have to know what you're doing, and again, you'll run into problems because the reality doesn't always match the plans or what the engineers had in mind. So you have to work through, how to lay something out maybe a little differently than originally intended.
I was friends with a plumber who worked for a local contractor, McDonald Miller. Through him, he got me a job as a helper while I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, and then after working at Mac Miller, I got exposed to steam fitting and decided that was the trade that would fit my personality the best. From the first day I was exposed to it, I was just enamored. One of the first jobs I was on, we were running 18-inch steel pipe, 100% welded, and I was just like, wow, this is, everything about the trade just jumped out at me. And the great thing about apprenticeship is, compared to college, is you're getting paid to learn. So the whole time you're learning this trade, I mean, from the day you start, you have a livable wage. Paid to learn as opposed to accumulating debt. You're always climbing, you're getting raises every year, and then by the time you turn out, you've got a great education under your belt, you've got a journeyman card, and no debt that goes with it.
My daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and I was scared because I didn't know how to balance that with work and school and everything else. But one of the things that really stuck out for me was the fact that the apprenticeship was right behind me on it. My coordinator was behind me on it, the instructors were behind me on it, and they let me know that I'm not going to be in this alone, and that if I needed something, all I had to do was ask. And so it was that kind of dedication on their part to me that made it really stand out as far as what the apprenticeship is and what it's going to do for me later on.
There's been such a push for everyone to get a college education that the trades have really slipped. There's a huge void, and we struggle with it here in Seattle especially because it's booming here and we just can't get enough bodies. There aren't enough people that are interested.
There's a huge skills gap in this country. There's a lot of people retiring. For every 3 people that are retiring, there's 1 person going into the trades. So if you're somebody that wants a work-life balance, that wants a good retirement, that wants, professional success, then you have to look into, anything trades related, but plumbing is the best.
Why bury yourself in debt? I'm not saying that the degrees are useless, but a lot of people don't get into the field that they're hoping to get into. This, on the other hand, is a program that pays for your schooling. If you follow through, it will pay you back exponentially.
To me, professional success is continuing to grow after you get your journeyman card. So the journeyman card is that first step. Once you finish that, You can take the trade in a lot of different directions. Foreman, general foreman, superintendents, or I'm kind of going down the road of project management and working my way in that direction. A lot of guys have started their own businesses, are now owners of companies. There's guys that are in sales, estimating. Since I've turned out, I've worked as a foreman, lead foreman, general foreman. Now I'm kind of more in a project management role. Even after you turn out and you have your journeyman card, you never stop competing. The best mechanic always wins.